The views and opinions expressed on Real Talk with Horace Sheffield are not those of WADL TV 38 or Adele Broadcasting Corporation.
Giving you real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk, real talk, real talk. Real issues straight from the heart, Giving you real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk, real talk.
Well, welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I'm Reverend Sheffield. We're pleased and privileged to have a young, prominent African-American physician, Dr. Tiffany Widener, who practices at the DMC, specifically at Children's Hospital. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I like your background. That's a beautiful background, by the way.
Thank you.
So this is summertime. There's a lot of stuff that kids can expose themselves to that put them at greater risk of harm. What are some of those things, and what are some of your suggestions?
So I think the biggest things we have to talk about are the things that we always commonly hear during the summer. So we hear about incidents and drownings. We hear about car safety. So we have to talk about water safety, car safety, and then also sunscreen. I know a lot of times, especially in the African-American community, we think our melanin is the only sunscreen we need. And that's not true. So making sure that we are utilizing sunscreen 30 minutes before going outside and reapplying that after doing things like swimming or where you're sweating or it may have become unapplied. You want to make sure that you're reapplying it, and it should have at least SPF of 30.
Yeah, so let me just stop you right there, because you mentioned a variety of things, but let's just talk about sunscreen and the sun.
Yes.
Back to pool safety and all that. And I think you need to talk about that some more, because I have significant friends of mine who believe they don't need any sunscreen, who really believe that we were reared, our anthropological origins are in the sun.
So does that have some validity? Definitely. So melanin is protective against the sun, but the UV rays from the sun are still dangerous to skin. And okay, you may not burn as quickly as our less melanated counterparts do, but it still increases risk for skin cancers. It still increases risk for wrinkles, because basically the sun breaks down our skin barrier. So it's still important to apply sunscreen.
Yeah, so you may not get cancer, but you may wrinkle quicker, huh?
Mm-hmm. Those things matter.
Yeah, how about that? So, and again, the SP range, explain that to us.
So SPF rating, basically tells us how much protection from the sun, the sunscreen that we are utilizing provides. And so we would prefer a range somewhere between 30 and 50, at least no less than 15, but most sunscreen products have a minimum of 15, but I say usually shoot for 30 to 50.
Okay, and then is there, are there sprays, there liquids, there lotions, any difference in those?
So what you would want to do for younger children, so those young infants, one, we protect and use sunscreen starting at 6 months of age. Prior to that, it's sun hats, appropriate clothing, making sure they stay out of direct sunlight. But the younger children, your infants and toddlers, you want a mineral oil based sunscreen. And so that's one of the things you want to look for, because it's going to have less chemicals. As you get into your older ranges, it really doesn't matter as long as you're using the appropriate SPF. But I mean, obviously, if you want to be cognizant of those chemicals as well, then you would also look for a mineral oil-based sunscreen.
All right, so, the point here is, number one, you need to protect yourself, and I like the way you describe the other folks, whether you look like us or you look like someone else, you still need some protection. Look into it, be aware of it, and all the nuances she gave you about the young children and all that, apply those. You also mentioned, I think, pool safety.
Yes.
Talk about that.
So we know that drowning is one of the higher causes of childhood mortality in the age group of 1 to 4. So you want to be cognizant of pool safety. I know a lot of the local Detroit homes don't necessarily have a pool in the ground, but even your above ground pools, those inflatable pools that we use, even bathtubs, we have to think about water safety. And so when we're thinking about pools, if individuals are around pools, you want to make sure that there is a barrier around those in-ground pools. So the safety thing is 4 feet high. You would want a 4 feet high fence. In an ideal world, it would have a lock and then some type of audio alarm. So whether it is our fancy talking alarms or something that buzzes to allow people to know that, hey, the pool area was breached, so that we're alerted when children are in the pool area. And so that's one thing. But then when your child is playing in pools, you want to make sure that you are watching them at all times. And if your child is not able to swim, they should be within arm's reach of an adult at all times.
Yeah, it's really interesting. My daughter was president of the council, Mary, and my son were in the pool at 6 to 8 months, and they were raised in the water. But it's important for people to know that there are swim lessons. That's important to know. And also some of the life-saving techniques and safeguards that are necessary. All right, what else do we need to know about summer health?
So another thing that I always try to mention around this time is car safety. So we always hear about parents leaving children in cars. We know that children are not able to regulate their body temperature as well. And unfortunately, if they're left in a car, it takes only a few minutes for a child's temperature to rise high enough where it could be fatal. And so you always want to remember to grab that young child that you put in the car. When you got in the car, you need to take them out when you're leaving the car, even if it's just to go for a quick stop, grabbing your gas, going to a grocery store for a quick trip. You still want to bring your child in.
Yeah, I think that's an unfortunate thing we see happen far too often, and kids die, and not to mention the heat. I just can't imagine leaving my kids anywhere by themselves, period. Yeah. So what's the best advice you give us? You got about a minute left about summer safety health tips from Dr. Widener. We really appreciate you, and we're proud that you've made this accomplishment being a medical physician.
Thank you. I really think overall, the biggest thing is to make sure we want the children to be active, but we want to make sure that their safety is always first. So thinking about what we talked about in terms of pool safety, car safety, but then also safety with bike helmets, scooters, they're outside, they're active. We want to make sure that we're giving our children the best leg up when it comes to their safety these summers, during the summer months.
And you practice at children. Any
I do.
information people want you? I mean, if I had a child, I'd want you to be their doctor. How do people reach you or access your health care?
So I am at the specialty center. So the pediatric specialty center is located right across the street from Children's Hospital. 313-745-KIDS is the hotline overall for Children's Hospital physicians, and I happen to be one of them. And so I am available as a primary care physician for children.
Wonderful. If I was out there and I have a 7-year-old granddaughter who my daughter's on the way right now to see me in the office, I'm going to tell her she needs to get you as a doctor.
I appreciate it. I love taking care of our children. I mean, I'm a Detroit child myself, so.
Where'd you go to school? Tell us, where did you go to high school?
Renaissance.
Okay. And then what about college?
Howard University for undergrad and medical school. So.
Wonderful. We're really proud of you. I love to see people like you doing great things. Okay.
I appreciate it.
Right, take care of yourself.
We'll
be right back after this, talking to the NAACP and about that commemoration of the March Down Woodward right after this. Thank you.
Join us for the Detroit Association of Black Organizations Community Empowerment Speaker Series featuring prolific voices that will enlighten and inform. Come hear amazing speakers like radio host Joe Madison, actor Hill Harper, hip-hop artist MC Search, actress Erica Alexander, the incomparable Dr. Cornel West, and much more. The series takes place monthly at the Bridge Center, located at 9928 Grand River. Please visit www.debodetroitinc.com.
The word trail is odd. It means following behind. But when you get on a trail, you're moving ahead. Ahead of your worries, ahead of life's dramas, ahead of noise and fuss and distraction. Good trails show you the way. The best trails show you our way. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, where we've got 250 miles of trails just waiting to be discovered. They're your Metro Parks. Come out and see what you find.
At the Detroit Water and Sewerage Department, we're working hard to protect pipes by cleaning public sewer lines to reduce flooding and speeding up the replacement of lead service lines. Protect your pipes with 3 easy tips. Pour grease into containers, toss wipes in the trash can, and check for running toilets, leaky pipes, and dripping faucets. For more tips, go to detroitmi.gov/protect pipes. DWSD, working hard to protect pipes for you.
Welcome back to Real Talk. I'm Reverend Sheffield. We just got done talking with a medical doctor, DMC, and there's something that's just as important to the quality of our lives, and that's our civil rights. And so we're joined by Casey Pierce II, talk about the 60th commemoration of the march down Woodward with Dr. Martin Luther King. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Were you around in 1960? I mean, were
no,
you,
sir. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I happen to actually, know Dr. King. My dad worked with him. Was at that march. Was at the one in Washington, and was, very much aware of water hoses and segregation and virulent racism that was on full display. Why is it important to commemorate a march like this in our current context?
Well, I think it's important, one, because we are still able to benefit from the residual that march caused. Although we're still facing racism, although we still have different forms of segregation, it's coming in different facets nowadays than it was then. We still have a fight ahead of us. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's very important that we commemorate this march, because a lot of blood, sweat, and tears was shed 60 years ago. Yeah. So that my generation can enjoy what we enjoy now, and so that my generation can also continue to fight for the things that were going on then and still going on now, just within a different face and a different light.
So before we go any further, when is the march, and how do people volunteer, participate, and all of that?
Yes, sir. So the march itself is June 24th at 10 a.m. We're starting from Woodward and MLK. Down to Hart Plaza, where the rally would begin at 12 p.m. They can register on DetroitNAACP.org. And on there would be a registration form for both those who want to march, as well as those who would like to volunteer on that day as well. We have a weekend of events that leads up to that as well. June 22nd at 9:30 at Wayne County Community College, the Northwest location, we have our
Outer Drive.
June Jubilee.
On Outer Drive in Southfield. Okay.
8200 West Outer Drive. Yes, sir. We have our June Jubilee Summit, our Freedom Summit, rather. Dr. Michael Eric Dyson would be there. Ayanna Gregory, which is Dick Gregory's daughter. Professor Kimberly Crenshaw will also be on that panel as well. So that's a very exciting panel from 9:30 to 4 p.m. that we'll be having there as it relates to the march, leading us up to the march. And there's another special event that's going on June 23rd at 10 a.m., which is the MLK statue unveiling at Hart Plaza. So we're very excited about the things that we have going on that weekend. And of course, we conclude on that Sunday with the Freedom Fund dinner as well.
Okay. It's big weekend, and I'm very aware of the NAACP. My dad, who worked for A. Philip Randolph and one of the first
sir.
to ever bring Dr. King to Detroit, began as the leader of the NAACP Youth Council.
Yes, sir.
I've shared with Wendell a historic photo of his at the Ford March. When my grandfather was in the factory, my dad worked there as well in the foundry. His sound truck said NAACP Youth Council supports the Ford strike.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's important for people to know that these are not ceremonial things.
Absolutely.
These are contextual things.
Absolutely.
And I'll just share this with you. I was thinking as you talk, how important it is to have these kind of things, because it lets folks know we can still get people out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I also want to say this, if I will. I have three children, 2 twin girls, they're 8, and my son is 10. And so, of course, as the society we're living in, they're trying to take Black history out of the schools.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the fact that at school, my kids are still learning some sort of Black history. But when they come home, they learn a lot of Black history.
Yeah.
And so if we can encourage even our young people to be a part of this march, to be a part of history, it's a great opportunity to have a conversation with our children as it relates to what this march represents as well. So
I was heartened yesterday to see the governor of Illinois, who did a ban on bands.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and for me, I don't need a book because I lived it. I mean, I was speaking at night by my mother because my father was with Charles Evers and Aaron Henry, folks like that, being chased by the Klan. I knew the sacrifice that people had to make for us to be treated fairly and equally. What do you think today are the major challenges? Because I don't think people, see water hoses, they don't see dogs, but I think there's some glaring examples of just how racist this society still is.
Absolutely. If we look at our legal systems, if we look at those that have the power that be, racism still exists. It's just in a different light now. Like, as you said, it's not the water hose, it's not the dogs attacking, but the dogs are attacking, right? The bans of trying to get
dogs without chains.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without chains and without 4 legs.
There you go.
But they're still attacking us.
There you go.
And so
they're just as virulent as those attack dogs are trained to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's still there. And we still have a fight on our hand. We still have justice to fight for. We still have equality to fight for.
So what role do you play at the NAACP chapter here?
So I have the honor of being the first vice president as well as the chairman of religious affairs.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Julius Caesar Hope had that great position, and
yes, sir.
The Black church has been an integral part of every movement we've had. What do you do for a living? Tell us a little bit more about you.
So I am currently the proud pastor of the Hopewell Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, as well as
Where's Hopewell related?
Hopewell is on Ewald Circle, 1831.
I go by there all the time.
Yes, sir. Right next to the library.
We're still in the same hood. See?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You a stone's throw away.
There you go. And by the way, speaking of libraries, we've opened a new library on Grand River in Livernois, and we've got Cornell West coming, Brittany Packnard Cunningham.
Oh, wow.
I'll need your contact information because we've been looking for folks who interview those folks. Keith Ellison is coming, Ben Crump is coming next month. And so let's take a quick break. I want to come back and talk to you more about some contemporary things.
Okay.
Drill down some more on the march, and probably a little bit more about you and why it is that you decided to give yourself to something beyond just preaching the gospel. We'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
Join us for the Detroit Association of Black Organizations Community Empowerment Speaker Series featuring prolific voices that will enlighten and inform. Come hear amazing speakers like radio host Joe Madison, actor Hill Harper, hip-hop artist MC Search, actress Erica Alexander, the incomparable Dr. Cornell West, and much more. The series takes place monthly at the Bridge Center, located at 9928 Grand River. Please visit www.debodetroitinc.com.
Play ball, jump ball, keep your eye on the ball. Be the ball, get the ball rolling. The ball's in your court. It's a whole new ball game. Because whatever kind of ball you like to play, you'll want to take your ball and come to your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, where we've got golf, tennis, soccer, softball, basketball, volleyball, and that thing too. They're your Metro Parks. Come on over sometime and have a ball.
Peace and love. I am Amore Shanae, owner of Amore Natural Way Natural Hair and Braiding Salon, located West Detroit at 13201 Grand River. We specialize in all braids, twists, and locking services. We offer complimentary wine and refreshments with service, and we can promise you a peaceful, positive, and professional experience. To book with us, give us a call and follow us on Instagram at Amore Natural Way Salon.
Well, we're talking with Reverend Dr. Pastor K.C. Pierce. Now I know why he wanted to go by K.C. You know, I went to Union Seminary.
Yes, sir.
All my classmates, Dr. Alonzo E. Johnson and Tyrone E. Kilgo, that's what they were known by when we were in school. But when they got these big, glorious churches, they became A.E. Johnson and T.E. Kilgo, you know. So.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you go to school?
So I went to Murray Wright High School.
Oh, you a pilot?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Proud to be. Also did some time at Oakland College, Oakland OU, and currently pursuing Virginia Union.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Yes,
we,
sir.
by the way, have St. Augustine's University and HBCU in our new building. We're doing bachelor's and masters of public administration, masters of public health. I'm a distinguished professor of religion at St. Augustine's University. Who was the previous pastor of Hopewell?
Pastor Clarence Cruz. Clarence Cruz. Yeah.
Is that not, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he come out of Tabernacle?
So that was the other Cruz. They had to go and joke. There was a light-skinned Cruz and a dark-skinned Cruz.
Right.
So the Cruz you're thinking about came out of Tabernacle.
Okay, yeah, because he, you know, my grandparents were two of the founding members.
Okay.
Of Tabernacle, and I always knew that there was a Cruz in the mix.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
why, you know, with all that we have to deal with as pastors, I mean, we have folks who, you know, love Jesus and can't stand anybody else.
Absolutely.
We have members of our church who, in spite of the best empowering messages we give them every Sunday, still are defeated day to day, drugs, alcohol, family issues. That's enough for us to contend with.
Absolutely.
Why then lend your talent and time in a social, civic, political arena?
Well, I believe if I could speak for my generation as relates to the millennial generation, we need a voice. We need a voice, as you spoke before. The Black church has always been the forefront of social justice. I believe that the Jesus we serve every Sunday, the Jesus we pray to every day, he was one that fought for the oppressed people. Mm-hmm. And with us being an extension of his voice in his hands, there too needs to be a voice. And so I saw the need of being active, not just preaching from the pulpit on Sundays and teaching Bible class on Wednesdays, but not getting my feet and my hands dirty throughout the week, fighting for those who are fighting to make a decent living, fighting for those who are fighting to make sure their kids have a decent education. And so I saw that need within our Black community, and I reached a moment where it was time out for being quiet, being silent, and someone had to take a stand and fight. So I am very proud to be a part of the NAACP, where I can utilize my voice and power of influence to be an impact, not to just my church, but to our community and to our people.
Absolutely. So now, again, let's talk about the march,
Yes, sir.
what you need people to do, how they can support. Let's go through those dates again.
Yes, sir. So we definitely need volunteers for the march itself. But June 22nd really kicks it off. June 22nd, 9:30 to 4 p.m. At Wayne County Community College, the Northwest location, 8200 West Outer Drive. That's our June Jubilee Summit, our Freedom Summit rather, with Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, Miss Ayanna Gregory, Professor Kimberly Crenshaw. And I think they'll have a moment in time where you can communicate and fellowship with those authors as well as a very intense panel that we'll have that day. June 23rd, another special moment for us at 10 a.m. at Hart Plaza will be the unveiling of the MLK statue. That will take place at Hart Plaza. Again, that's at 10 a.m. And then on the 24th is the actual march, the 60th anniversary march of the MLK, which also we should state that the I Have a Dream speech, this was 60 years ago. It was done here first in the city of Detroit. So this is a very special time for us. That march begins at 10 a.m. from Woodward and MLK down to Hart Plaza, in which at 12 o'clock, we will conclude and start the rally at Hart Plaza. You can register at DetroitNAACP.org, whether you're registering to march, registering for the panel event on the 22nd, or registering to volunteer. We need a lot of volunteers and always open to that. And then on the 25th, we conclude with the Freedom Fund dinner, in which the Honorable Reverend Raphael Warnock will be our keynote speaker that day as well, I might add.
Yeah.
And tickets can also be purchased online at DetroitNAACP.org.
Yeah. So it's a great lineup, great activity. The money supports the local chapter. I know some of it goes to the national office.
Absolutely.
I know Derek pretty well as well. And Pastor Raphael Warnock and I, we both share Dr. oh my God, missed my mind. Kelvin Butts in common. And
yes,
so
sir.
we applaud you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Last minute, just kind of wrap up why it's important for people to not stand on the sidelines and be observers of history, but makers of history.
Too much has been shed, too much blood, too much sweat and tears have been shed prior to this moment. A lot of us have sat on the sidelines long enough and watched as the powers that be take over or provide us with things that they think we should have, and injustice and inequality. And so it's a moment in time in which we can stand up. It's a moment in time in which we can be a part of something that's positive, a part of something that most of our grandparents, great grandparents were a part of. And so it's a moment where we can stand up, not just with our voice, but with our hands and our feet. And so I think it's important that we show up, that we march, and that we show that we haven't stopped marching. We won't stop marching. We haven't stopped fighting, and we won't stop fighting.
And I tell people all the time, if you ain't doing nothing, don't say nothing.
Be quiet.
We need to stand up and speak up and let folks know we still can act up if we need to.
If we need to. Yes, sir.
I've been
Yes,
talking
sir.
with K.C. Pierce, pastor of Hopewell Baptist Church, first vice president in the NAACP Detroit chapter. Impressed with you, my brother. God bless you.
Appreciate you, sir.
On some other things. All right, you've been watching Real Talk. This is it for this Sunday, and don't forget to go march. And if you're not able to go yourself, lend some support, send some family members, or whatever you do, make certain that they know you're accounted for in terms of what you want to do to help us move forward. See you next week.
Join us for the Detroit Association of Black Organizations Community Empowerment Speaker Series featuring prolific voices that will enlighten and inform. Come hear amazing speakers like radio host Joe Madison, actor Hill Harper, hip-hop artist MC Search, actress Erica Alexander, the incomparable Dr. Cornel West, and much more. The series takes place monthly at the Bridge Center, located at 9928 Grand River. Please visit www.debodetroitinc.com.
You real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk, real talk, real talk. Real issues straight from the heart, Giving you real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk, real talk.